Queens and Kings! So for today, we are going to have another educational video about culture, its meanings, characteristics, and functions. So just keep on watching!
I'm feeling so cool, top to the bottom, just cool.
Culture, meanings, characteristics, and functions. The customs, traditions, attitudes, values, norms, ideas, and symbols govern human behavior patterns. These common patterns designate culture, and it is in terms of culture that we are able to understand the specific behavior pattern of human beings in their social relations. Cultural ideas emerge from shared social life. We have here the meanings of culture. First one, personal characteristics. Sometimes an individual is described as a highly cultured person, meaning thereby that the person in question has certain features such as his speech, manner, and taste for literature, music, or painting, which distinguish him from others. Culture, in this sense, refers to a certain personal characteristics of an individual. Second, culture refers to a celebration. Sometimes, culture is used in popular discourse to refer to a celebration or an evening of entertainment, as when one speaks of a cultural show. In this sense, culture is identified with aesthetics or the fine arts such as dance, music, or drama. Third, culture is used in anthropology and sociology. Culture is used in a special sense in anthropology and sociology. It refers to the sum of human beliefs, life ways, beliefs, and feelings, thought. It connotes everything that is acquired by them as social beings. Culture has been defined in a number of ways. There is no consensus among sociologists and anthropologists regarding the definition of culture. One of the most comprehensive definitions of the term culture was provided by the British anthropologist Edward Tylor. He defined culture as the complex whole, which includes knowledge, belief, art, morals, law, custom, and any other capabilities and habits acquired by man as a member of society. As the picture has shown, knowledge plus belief plus morals is equal to culture. Therefore, culture is the totality of everything in the society. Characteristics of culture. First, learned behavior. Not all behavior is learned, but most of it is learned. Combing one's hair, standing in line, telling jokes, criticizing the president, and going to the movies. All constitute behaviors which had to be learned. Sometimes, the terms conscious learning and unconscious learning are used to distinguish the learning. Also, learned behavior is learned through some past experiences. Second, culture is abstract. Culture exists in the minds or habits of the members of society. Culture is shared ways of doing and thinking. There are degrees of visibility of cultural behavior ranging from the regularized activities of persons to their internal reasons for so doing. In other words, we cannot see culture as such, we can only see human behavior. Third, culture is a pattern of learned behavior. The definition of culture indicated that the learned behavior of people is patterned. Each person's behavior often depends upon some particular behavior of someone else. The point is that, as a general rule, behaviors are somewhat integrated or organized with related behaviors of other persons. For the fourth one, culture is the products of behavior. Cultural learnings are the products of behavior. As the person behaves, they occur changes in him. For example, the boy acquires the ability to swim, to feel hatred towards someone, or to sympathize with someone. Therefore, he has grown out of his previous behaviors. In both ways then, human behavior is a result of behavior. The experience of other people is impressed on one as he grows up, and also many of his traits and abilities have grown out of his own past behaviors. Fifth, culture includes attitudes, values, knowledge. There is widespread error in the thinking of many people who tend to regard the ideas, attitudes, and notions which they have as their own. It is easy to overestimate the uniqueness of one's own attitudes and ideas. When there is an agreement with other people, it is largely unnoticed. But when there is a disagreement or difference, one is usually conscious of it. Sixth, culture also includes material objects. Man's behavior results in creating objects. Men were behaving when they made these things. To make these objects required numerous and various skills which human beings gradually built up through the ages. Man has invented something else, and so on. Seventh, culture is shared by the members of society. Persons may share some part of a culture unequally. For example, as Americans do the Christian religion. To some persons, Christianity, the all-important predominating idea in life. To others, it is less preoccupying or important. And to still others, it is of marginal significance only. Sometimes the people share different aspects of culture. For example, among the Christians, there are Catholic and Protestant, liberal or conservation, as clergymen or as laymen. The point of our discussion is not that culture or any part of it is shared identically, but that it is shared by the members of society to a sufficient extent. Eighth, culture is superorganic. Culture is sometimes called superorganic. It implies that culture is somehow superior to nature. The word superorganic is useful when it implies that what may be quite a different phenomenon from a cultural point of view. Viewed through Spencer's social evolutionary thought, superorganic refers to the claim that culture is an entity that exists over and beyond the individuals that make it up. Ninth, culture is pervasive. Culture is pervasive. It touches every aspect of life. The pervasiveness of culture is manifest in two ways. First, culture provides an unquestioned context within which individual action and response takes place. Not only emotional action, but relational actions are governed by cultural norms. Second, culture pervades social activities and institutions. 10th, culture is a way of life. Culture means simply the way of life of a people or their design for living. 11th, culture is a human product. Culture is not a force operating by itself and independent of the human actors. There is an unconscious tendency to defy culture, to endow it with life and treat it as a thing. Culture is a creation of the society and interaction and depends for its existence upon the continuance of society. 12. Culture is idealistic. Culture embodies the ideas and norms of a group. It is sum total of the ideal patterns and norms of behavior of a group. Culture consists of the intellectual, artistic, and social ideals and institutions which the members of the society profess and to which they strive to conform. 13th, culture is transmitted among members of society. The cultural ways are learned by persons from persons. Many of them are handed down by one's elders, by parents, teachers, and others, or a somewhat older generation. Other cultural behaviors are handed up to elders. Some of the transmission of culture is among contemporaries. 14th, culture is variable. Culture varies from society to society, group to group. Hence, we say culture of India or England. Further, culture varies from group to group within the same society. There are subcultures within a culture, clusters of patterns which are both related to general culture of the society and yet distinguishable from it are called subcultures. 15th, culture is an integrated system. Culture possesses an order and system. Its various parts are integrated with each other, and any new element which is introduced is also integrated. 16. Language is the chief vehicle of culture. Man lives not only in the present but also in the past and future. He is able to do this because he possesses language which transmits to him what was learned in the past and enables him to transmit the accumulated wisdom to the next generation. A specialized language pattern serves as a common bond to the members of a particular group or subculture. Although culture is transmitted in a variety of ways, language is one of the most important vehicles for perpetuating cultural patterns. And for the last one, culture is continually changing. There is one fundamental and inescapable attribute of culture, the fact of unending change. Some societies sometimes change slowly and hence in comparison to other societies seem not to be changing at all, but they are changing even though not obviously so. To conclude, culture is everything which is socially learned and shared by the members of society. It is culture that in the wide focus of the world distinguishes individual from individual, group from group, and society. Functions of culture. Culture has certain functions for both individual and society. For the first one, culture defines situations. Each culture has many subtle cues which define each situation. It reveals whether one should prepare to fight, run, laugh, or make love. Second, culture defines attitudes, values, and goals. Each person learns in his culture what is good, true, and beautiful. Attitudes, values, and goals are defined by the culture, while the individual normally learns them as unconsciously as he learns the language. Attitudes are tendencies to feel and act in certain ways. Values are measures of goodness or desirability. For example, we value private property, government, and many other things and experience. Goals are those attainments which our values define as worthy. In these ways, culture determines the goals of life. For the third one, culture defines myths, legends, and the supernatural. Myths and legends are an important part of every culture. They may inspire, reinforce effort, and sacrifice and bring comfort and bereavement. Whether they are true is sociologically unimportant. Ghosts are real people who believe in them and who act upon this belief. We cannot understand the behavior of any group without knowing something of the myths, legends, and supernatural beliefs they hold. Myths and legends are powerful forces in a group's behavior. And lastly, but surely not the least, culture provides behavior patterns. The individual need not to go through painful trial and error learning to know what foods can be eaten without poisoning himself or how to live among people without fear. Relationship between culture and society. The relationship between society, culture, and personality is stressed by Ralph Linton. A society is an organized group of individuals. A culture is an organized group of learned responses. A society cannot exist apart from culture. A society is always made of persons and their groupings. People carry and transmit culture, but they are not culture. No culture can exist except as it is embodied in a society of man. No society can operate without cultural directives. Like matter and energy, like mind and body, they are interdependent and interacting yet express different aspects of the human situation.
Thank you for watching and listening with me throughout the whole video. This has been Queen Salve reminding you to accept each other's differences and embrace one's culture.
I'm feeling so cool, top to the bottom, just cool.